All right, Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Racha Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders in great millstone, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, back through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, with another various articles. All right, we just got a few this morning. We're going to get to this first one. It says, the great taking, how they plan to steal everything from everyone. All right, the great taking, how they plan to steal everything from everyone. All right, we're not going to read all this article. We're just going to read a couple portions here. We're going to start from the top. It says, this is a partial transcript of Brighteon. Actually, that's not it, is it? Let me see here. David Webb, which is very all right, so let's jump down here. It says, I really encourage you to watch this documentary, The Great Taking by David Webb. If you're paying attention, then you'll realize that he's talking about this creation of this new legal construct called a security entitlement. Now, what this means is that you can think that you own your securities, stocks, bonds, bank accounts, whatever debt instruments you think you think you own them, but you actually don't own them. You have been displaced. You're no longer the owner. You are someone who is entitled to the benefits of this instrument, but you do not own it. Instead, the ownership is now taken over by essentially these shell corporation organizations that enjoy special protections by the United States government. So when the system collapses, you will own nothing, which is exactly what the globalists are promising. Yep, you will own nothing and you will be happy. By the way, when the banks collapse, you will still owe the bank for for your home, your car, business loan. They won't wipe out your debts, but they will wipe out your assets. Technically, they will seize control over them. You will become just a creditor to the bank. So if you have $1 million in the bank and you think you're a millionaire, actually, they're going to take the $1 million and leave you with nothing. But if you have a loan with the bank, you still have to make payments on those loans. So you will end up with no assets but all your debts, and you will end up with no assets but all your debts, and you will probably be bankrupt. This is how they're going to bankrupt people all across the country, which is why it's called the Great Taking. All right, and this is all going to happen, with their so-called Great Reset. Okay, starting everybody over from square one. Square one is a digital square, and square one is controlled by the wicked elite. All right, it says the importance of off-grid financial assets. All right, this is a strategy that has been constructed by the financial empires to quite literally take possession of virtually all assets currently held by the people of the United States of America, and similar laws have been put in place around the world. So this is why it's critical to have assets that I call off-grid assets. They need to exist outside the banking system. Number one, it's critical to get out of debt if you can. I know that some people out there say that debt is your friend and you should use that to become wealthy. And the more debt you have, the more assets you control, and so on. I've heard those arguments, but that's not what I follow. You can, of course, decide what's appropriate for you. Perhaps if you're in real estate, maybe debt is your friend when interest rates are low. But then again, debt can quickly become your enemy as rates go higher. But I don't believe in debt. I've been debt free for a long time, and I do not take loans. I do not ever want to be in debt, because when you're in debt, it means they have power over you, and it means they can take assets back from you. What we're finding out in this documentary, the Great Taking, is that if you have a home that you ever had a loan on, or if you own a car that you ever had a loan on your title, the fact that it had a lien on it at one time or another may, under certain circumstances, allow the lenders to still claim your property as collateral during a collapse, which means that they could potentially, at least as I understand it, they could come take your house or take your car, even though you've paid it off. All right, and that lines up with one of their executive orders. All right, where they can take your automobile. Okay, it says they could come take your house or take your car, even though you've paid it off, because they could claim that it's collateral on their books, and you are just a security entitlement receiver, that you don't really own it, even though you're paying it off. This is what David Webb is describing in part in this documentary. And David Webb, I think that was the name of the dude in the Jason Bourne movies, right? His real name. That you're not David Webb. Anyways, now I know this is going to sound completely shocking to most listeners here, especially those of you in finance and taxation and so on. You're going to say, no, that's impossible. That you might think I must be somehow missing the point on this, or I'm reaching the wrong conclusion. Well, what I'm saying is this is what David Webb is describing, and it does contradict normal financial common sense. It violates all the rules of ownership that we know, but that's the point of the documentary. David Webb is explaining that a new system has been put in place that violates all the normal rules of ownership. Even in cases of fraud, if a financial institution commits fraud and they lie and they cheat it, they can still claim your assets as theirs under certain circumstances. All right, so we're going to jump down here. It says digital assets can vanish in an instant. We probably won't read that. Let me see what's in it. Yeah, we could probably jump down from here. All right. It says some cryptos are rapidly gaining value. We don't have to read that. Here we go. It says the coming cyber attack narrative to explain away the debt reset. The coming cyber attack. All right. Keep talking about these cyber attacks, EMP attacks, and all these different kind of things. Okay. Everything's leading up to the MOTB and that great reset, man. And that's by way of prophecy. The coming cyber attack narrative to explain away the debt reset. Now, it's possible they could blame it on a cyber attack. That would be a very convenient scapegoat. Blame it on China, blame it on Russia, blame it on aliens, who knows, blame it on hackers. Or even, frankly, I think they could blame it on AI cyber attacks. Doesn't even have to be human anymore. They just say, well, an AI system got loose and it hacked all the banks, and now the AI took all your money. It wasn't us. It was the AI robots. I would doubt they would say that. It's highly not likely, but I would doubt they would say it though. If they could fool someone with it, they might even say it. Anyway, it says, they can say that. And if that showed up in the New York Times and CNN, frankly, half the country would totally, and that's very factual, that half the country would totally believe it. All right. Probably more than half the country will believe it because it's on the TV screens. It says, oh yeah, robots stole my money. No wonder I'm broke, It's also not all fiction. It could happen. But AI robots are probably not going to come to your house and take your gold. And if they tried, you could fight. They're going to seize electronic assets. That's what's going to go bye-bye. But everything that's physical, that's under your control, well, that's hard. That's very hard for them to take from you. And in my opinion, it's the people who hold the gold that are going to be able to reboot society. And that's a lot, because that's not what the scriptures say. It even talks about in wartime. I believe it was dealing with the Medes in the scriptures. I believe it's in Jeremiah, where it says they're not going to regard the gold or silver. They're not going to care about gold or silver because these are foreign troops. And we talk about it all the time during war, right? You got the invading nation, okay? They'll come in, when they finally get into the castle keep and get into the hold, and they basically get inside, period, okay? And what do? They kill all the men of war, and all the men in general, because not everyone is a man of war. All right, so they're not fighting in the army against the opposite, invading kingdom. Okay, so they kill all the men of war as well as regular men. Okay, and more than likely some of the young men too, because they may be at a fighting age or whatever. But what they do is what they'll usually keep the women and the children for themselves, and then they'll take whatever spoils, livestock and cattle, whatever. All right. So but just to make the point, the scriptures talk about this. They're gonna care about gold and silver and things of that nature, right? They're gonna come in, and because they are foreign enemy nations, they don't care who they kill. They're just gonna come in with they're gonna be coming in seeing red, and that's it. Whoever's in their way is gonna get slaughtered. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, or a child. Okay. So continuing on, it says, let me see if we find where we left off at. It says and in my opinion, it's the people who hold the gold that are going to be able to reboot society. They're going to be the ones that own the future businesses that help launch new currencies, and that's all false. They're going to be the ones that are positioned as the new leaders of the entire fiscal economy after the reboot, and that's false. You're going to see millionaires and billionaires become penniless, and that's definitely false, unless you're talking about, celebrity status. But which that can also be far-fetched. All right, the ones that are going to be in control are the international banking families. All right, this is something that obviously whoever wrote this article doesn't understand. It says, and excuse me. It says, and then you're gonna see people who own gold and silver and land become billionaires, and that's false, man. I think you're gonna have a big switch. Trading places is going to happen virtually overnight, because who knows how much gold is going to be worth in this collapse environment? It's going to be worth nothing. Okay. I mean, even if it is worth something, it's just not going to be, a sufficient thing in the new, barter, trading system. Okay. Which ain't really going to be a trade system. It's either you're going to take the microchip or you're not going to get what you need. And we're telling you not to take this man's microchip. All right. It says I can't even put a dollar figure on it because the dollar probably won't exist. Yeah, that's factual. It's infinite dollars if the dollar goes to zero. Division by zero. No, the dollars are just going digital. The dollars will exist. They're just going to be digital dollars. You're not going to know they're dollar bills because it's going to be digital. That's all it is. It's just a way to keep the American dollar in power, okay? And because that all has to do with the elites, continuing with their power. I can't even call it struggle because it's not a struggle because they already have the power, okay? But yeah, keeping that dollar bill important, and the dollar bill will be important. It's not going to be known as the dollar bill anymore. It's just going to be known as digital currency, and everyone's going to have digital currency all over the world, okay? It says, so we can't even properly describe what gold will be worth or silver or hard assets. But I can tell you that fiat currencies will be worth zero or near zero. And your claim on a bank that closed down, even if you had $1 million in the bank and they went bankrupt, your claim on that $1 million will be worth, pennies on the dollar. It won't be worth much at all. This is why I think it's very much worth your time to look at hard assets. And it's not going to matter what you have in these latter days, okay? So let's go back up. It says the great taking, how they plan to steal everything from everyone. Yes, there's going to be a great reset. Yes, they want you to be broke and be happy and be slaves to them. But no, not everything that was talked about in this article is true. So let's move on. All right, it says supply chain chaos. Key global electrical product supplier announces 20-week delay for many components. All right. Key global electrical product supplier announces 20-week delay for many components. All right. Supply chain chaos. Let's check it out. It says the world's second largest manufacturer of electrical components has announced a 20-week delay for engineered to order or ETO components. Schneider Electric produces electrical products that are absolutely critical for daily life. Things like electrical infrastructure, industrial automation, programmable logical controllers or PLCs, and so much more rely on parts made by Schneider Electric. Without them, the world as we currently know it will cease to exist. I don't know about all that, but let's see what else is down here. Oh, there's another World War coming. Let me see what else is up here before we jump down. ETO projects are essential to both public and private infrastructure. The power grid, for one, requires them. Any kind of delay in their production and delivery means the electrical grid is just one calamity away from potentially becoming a grid down blackout situation. And that's been the next talk, all right? EMP attacks, winter blackout. All right, they had the what was it? The Mountain Dew, right? It was, I think it was called Blackout, Mountain Dew Black or something like that. All right, so this is them devils prophesying on the left hand side. All right, just like they had the Mountain Dew Maui Burst, okay, and then they also had the Pitch Black or Blackout or something like that. It was Mountain Dew something about black, right? But they prophesying on the left hand side things to come. All right, and these things are happening, and now it has already happened. All right, and now you hear about terrorist attacks, blackout, EMP attacks, okay, and just a lot of things are going on around this world, man, and just it's kind of a mixture of things going on right now. All right, and they're about to the Lord's about to amplify them. Okay, it says ETO projects are essential to both public and private infrastructure. The power grid, for one, requires them. Any kind of delay in their production and delivery means the electrical grid is just one calamity away from potentially becoming a grid down blackout situation. Even more ominous is the fact that the Federal Bureau of Investigation recently warned about cyber attacks involving, you guessed it, the same types of ETO equipment that Schneider Electric manufactures. In other words, the FBI is setting the stage, possibly through predictive programming, for major calamities to come by claiming that there will soon be cyber attacks involving the very same equipment produced by Schneider Electric that will be delayed at least through Q1 2024. So it doesn't really matter who it's coming from, man. The fact of the matter is that, something happens, it's labeled as a crisis, and they always say that they have a solution. That's because they do. It's because they had the solution before the thing happened, because they are the ones who made it happen on the left hand side. All right. We can jump down here. It says, is another world war coming? Hey, it's already here. All right. It may not be as major as you think it is yet, but that point is coming. But it's pretty much, hey, somebody's fighting somebody, okay? It says, in a notice to the company's partners, Senior Vice President Charles Buckley explained that starting on December 7th, all current shipment schedules of ETO products will be revised. Existing Q1 orders will be extended later into the year to level set production across several plants due to high demand and persistent supply chain challenges for these complex customized solutions. Let's see what else we got here, because I don't want to just read all that for no reason. Trying to see what the nitty gritty is. It says U.S. domestic investments in infrastructure projects, water utility, airports, and geopolitical tensions are additional pressures on supply, impacting the reliability of upstream supply and shipment schedules. Some speculate that this is just a cover story, and that this wait and hold for critical infrastructure is to allow Schneider Electric room to step in and replace damaged critical infrastructure following a cyber attack, as the FBI is warning could occur. Another possibility for the 20-week delay is that certain projects are having to undergo a critical redesign, potentially due to the discovery of holes in existing security systems. In recent weeks, dozens of news reports have surfaced about localized cyber attacks, including one involving water systems in Hawaii and another involving the Texas power grid. All right. It says preparations for a world war are clearly taking place in very many countries around the world. I just kind of said that. It says one report suggests for the first time, U.S. citizens are likely to see the direct consequences of war on our own. Bam! Hey, light that up, because, yeah, that's what they need, man. Hey, the land of unwalled villages. Americans are stupid, man. They think that all these things and all these different things that are going on around the world are just things that are happening around the world. But our everyday lives are normal, and we get to carry on every single day. Now, there are some people who are kind of waking up to what's going on, but the average majority of Americans are still just walking around here like dodo birds, man. They're still asleep. All right. And that's why the scriptures talk about the peace and safety. When they shall say peace and safety, that is, then sudden destruction. All right. All these different things that happen, these crises that continue to happen, always hit Americans hard, because they're always, they wake up every day expecting the same life every day, expecting to live in La La Land. All right. It's like they just, they're living in the playland or Candyland or whatever. Not talking about the slave camp, not talking about the board game, just happy La La Go Lucky Land. And some of them lives are just, good in their eyes, right, according to this world. And so they're not concerned with the things. They may look at the news and say, oh, this is this and this is that, and try to cast their opinions or whatever. But ultimately, deep down inside, they don't really give a crap, all right, because their lives are just, it's fine, okay? And this is what's going to catch Americans off guard, because the things that have happened to so many countries around the world due to America being the bully, these things haven't been seen on American soil, okay? And these things are about to happen in real time, because thus saith the Lord. It says, for the first time, U.S. citizens are likely to see the direct consequences of war on our soil. Yeah, because this place is going down the drain, man. All right, is slowly withering away. All right, and that's all, according to prophecy. So call Halayim Yahweh Shah. All right, and we're waiting, patiently, right, to continue to see the Lord work and what He's going to do in this earth. All right, especially to Babylon the Great. All right, so it says supply chain chaos. Key global electrical product supplier announces 20-week delay for many components. All right. All right, so I wasn't going to grab this one, but I'm going to grab it anyways. Then we'll get our last article. It says CNN writer suggests forcing carbon passport on travelers to meet carbon footprint target by 2050. All right, 2030, 2050, whatever. It's all false dates to give you, to throw you off your balance, right? Because all these things that are going to roll out are going to be in a short amount of time, because these devils have just that, a short amount of time, as according to Revelation chapter 12:12, and they're going to come down with great wrath. All right. So all their little plans and agendas that the Lord has them doing on the left hand side, they gotta roll them out soon, man, because they ain't got much time. All right, it's time for their kingdom to go down, man. All right, they've had their rulership. Okay, they've had their what is it, like 200 to 300 years, empire be up. All right, they have their empire, their number of empirical years. I don't know if that's a real word. Hey, don't quote me on that one, but you know what I'm trying to say. All right, their years are up, man. It's time, man, and the Lord is working. All right, so let's get into this real quick. I think it's a short article. Yeah, pretty short. All right, so it says mainstream news outlets writer Ross Bennett Cook pointed out in an article that tourism's negative impacts on the environment has become so severe that some are suggesting drastic changes to travel habits, citing a 2023 report that analyzed the future of sustainable travel, where the adventure travel company Intrepid Trave proposed the use of carbon passports. All right. Let me see here. Let's see what we can pick out of here. Says the idea of a carbon passport centers on each traveler being assigned a yearly carbon allowance that they cannot exceed. They found this significant as international tourist arrivals globally reached 84% of pre-pandemic levels. In some European countries such as France, Denmark, and Ireland, tourism demand even surpassed its pre-pandemic level. Let's see what else we got down here. The average annual carbon footprint for a person in the U.S. is 16 tons, which is one of the highest rates in the world. In the U.K., this figure sits at 11.7 tons, to more than 5 times the figure recommended by the Paris Agreement. He wrote of the legally binding treaty that aims to keep a global temperature rise this century well below 2 C above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue efforts to limit the temperature increase even further to 1.5 C, which is Celsius, by the way. Let's see what else. It says the average worldwide annual carbon footprint of a person is closer to 4 tons, but to have the best chance of preventing temperature rise from overshooting 2 Celsius, the average global carbon footprint needs to drop to under 2 tons by 2050. These people, man. Let's see what else we got down here. Wait, what's this? It says passengers on short-haul flights and older aircraft in Belgium have been subject to increased taxes to encourage alternative forms of travel. After 2 months, France banned short-haul domestic flights where the same trip can be made by train in 2.5 hours or less. Spain is expected to follow suit. Okay, I thought I was getting into something else. All right, so cool. Let's jump on down here. It says, what's that right there? It says, meanwhile, an investigation by the European Federation for Transport and Environment this year also found that cruise ships pump 4 times as many sulfuric gases, which they say cause acid rain and several respiratory conditions into the atmosphere than all of Europe's 291 million cars combined. All right, so it says it would be challenging to implement carbon passports, experts admit. Experts agreed, making the carbon passport concept a reality posed challenges. To work, legislation and technological innovations are needed. Matt Berner, the president of Intrepid in the Americas, and Alex Hawkins, the strategic foresight editor at the Future Laboratory, who spearheaded the report, admitted. For it to work internationally, it would require collaboration from a lot of different stakeholders. If we were to put certain limits on our carbon emissions, that will have different ramifications for all of us. Hawkins said. Zapata also acknowledged the restriction could be alienating and ineffective. The idea in good theory, but in terms of logistics, I don't see how it could come together. Let me see what else we got down here. Actually, not as a heavy-hitting article as I thought it was going to be. Probably could have left it out. It says Berner said that another issue is that not all emissions from traveling come from transportation. The next piece we have to solve is how we travel when we get to the location, how we're spending your money, where you're staying, he said. Berner and Zapata also targeted other traveling itineraries, such as eating locally sourced food, staying in sustainable accommodations that use renewable energy, and opting for fewer, longer trips over several shorter ones, further making traveling more expensive. And all that sounds good, man, but ain't nothing you can do, all right, to get around these agendas that these people are placing forth in this earth, man. All right. Yeah, so we just in that one there. These people in their carbon footprint and all that kind of talk. They better stick to the cow farts, which even that is ridiculous. CNN writer suggests forcing carbon passport on travelers to meet carbon footprint target by 2050. All right, let's get our last article. Now, speaking on carbon footprints and cow farts, we have humans breathing harms the environment. Scientists claim. All right, check this out, man. Let's see here. Um, It says new research put together by Dr. Nicholas Cowan, an atmospheric physicist at the UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology in Edinburgh, argues that the gases exhaled by humans while breathing are a major contributing factor to global warming. According to Dr. Cowan and his team, the simple act of respiration releases warming gases into the air that contribute to atmospheric heating and boiling oceans. A fact check. These people are crazy, man. It has been reported that exhaled human breath can contain the greenhouse gases methane, CH4, and nitrous oxide, N2O, both of which have a much higher global warming potential than carbon dioxide, CO2, the study explains. Where hydrocarbon chains, food types, never mind, man, I was about to make a point, but it doesn't matter. Where hydrocarbon chains, food types, are consumed by humans and turned into CH4 and N2O from nitrogen intake, the global warming potential is no longer neutral, and human respiration has a net warming effect on the atmosphere. We would urge caution in the assumption that emissions from humans are negligible. So what does this say? It says the new study was led by Dr. Nicholas Cowan in atmosphere. I think that's already what we read. Now scientists say breathing is bad for the environment. Gases we exhale contribute to 0.1% of the UK's greenhouse gas emissions. People are so funny, man. Oh, man. Hey, everybody, just stop breathing, man. So, we can make these people happy. Goodness. Stop breathing, save the world. You can't make it up. Stop breathing, save the world. Oh, man. For their study, the researchers looked at levels of methane and nitrous oxide in the human breath of 104 adult volunteers, but so somehow, they can equate it to the whole entire Earth, the whole entire world, right? With X amount of individuals up on this planet, right? Anyways, all right, it says for their study, the researchers looked at levels of methane and nitrous oxide in the human breath of 104 adult volunteers from the general population of the United Kingdom. Each volunteer was instructed to take a deep breath, hold it for 5 seconds, then exhale into a sealable plastic bag. A total of 328 breath samples were collected. These people, breath samples, man, were collected from the participants, each of whom was recorded based on age, sex, and dietary preference. This shows you how deep Esau will go just to study a thing, all right? Especially when it comes to one of their agendas. Or when they're trying to be, wow, wait, oh man, you can't make it up. I looked down, I saw this. It's right here in the article. Hey, it's right here in the article, man. Hey, let's get down here. It says, upon analysis, all of the breath samples were found to contain nitrous oxide, while only 31% were found to contain methane, the same gas found in cow farts. You see? These people are crazy, man. These people are crazy, man. It says the same gas was found in cow farts that the climate cultists are also trying to eliminate. Yeah, they're trying to... Hey, you can't see E is desperate, man. You got to see this man is desperate, man. And this is why they're going to come down with great wrath, man. Or part of it, not the only reason, because there's multiple little facets to why they're going to come down with great wrath, all right? But, hey, I mean, it has to happen, man. It has to happen. Just like any great nation that was in power went down, it went down by way of war, all right? It dwindled at first, okay? And then it slowly just withered away. And that's exactly what's happened to America. It's withering away, all right? So it says each volunteer was instructed to take deep breath. Oh, actually, we just read that. It says upon analysis. Okay, we read that too. We'll read it again. It says all of the breath samples were found to contain nitrous oxide, while only 31% were found to contain methane, the same gas found in cow farts that the climate cultists are also trying to eliminate. Hey, fact check these people, man, because they might be telling the truth. They might be lying. We know which one we think there it is. All right. The other 69% of participants that did not release methane in their breath were determined to still release the gas in flatus, meaning flatus, meaning flatulence. All right. gas basically. Um, Females above the age of 30 were found to be the most likely to exhale methane in their breath, though researchers say they are unsure why this is the case. Overall, based on all the samples, the researchers determined that the proportion of UK greenhouse gas emissions that come from people's breath is 0.05% for methane and 0.1% for nitrous oxide. To be clear about what this means, Dr. Cohen stressed that these two percentages relate specifically to the two respective gases. The two percentages do not cover the totality of UK greenhouse gas emissions as a whole. As far as they could tell, there is no link between gases in breath and what people eat, though the researchers made sure to throw in their bias against meat eaters, claiming that they fuel the climate crisis to much higher degree than vegetarians and vegans. The study also only looked at greenhouse gas emissions from breath. The researchers did not provide any kind of estimates as to a person's total emissions on their overall carbon footprint. I love global warming, one commenter wrote. It encourages us to breathe so plants can become green. Well, we all knew this was bound to happen, wrote another. I would like to suggest that Dr. Nicholas Cowan be the first to put. Wait. Let me go back here. Because who the hell wrote this? It says, I love global warming, one commenter wrote. It encourages us to breathe so plants can become green. It's not how it works, buddy. The plants, take in that just whoever this is. All right, just look at the cycle, man. All right, because we talked about it a bunch of times, man. All right, over and over and over, right? And pretty much it's these plants and these trees that give you your oxygen that you breathe. Okay. But anyways, and I'm speaking on photosynthesis for those that don't know. Go and look at that process so you understand why I went back to double read this comment again. All right. Anyways, it says, well, we all knew this was bound to happen, wrote another. I would like to suggest that Dr. Nicholas Cowan be the first to put a plastic bag over his head, duct tape the bag to his body, and make certain there are no gaps, and breathe deeply to reduce the population. Oh, man. Hey, man. It is what it is with these folk. Yeah, they're gonna do what they do and say what they say, man. Hey, humans breathing harms the environment. UK scientists claim. Hey, only thing I got to say about that is don't hold your breath. Lord willing, you add 5 to next time. Y'all gonna say shalom.